Welcome to the Wellness Lab Digest, where we help you to absorb powerful, life-changing insights from top wellness experts with our daily, bite-sized wellness podcast summaries. Each episode is packed with distilled, powerful takeaways to boost your health and well-being. To support this podcast, please scroll down on whatever app you're listening on. Ratings and reviews are helpful. Even better, just send the show to a friend. Or check out our sponsors at the bottom of the page, or simply click the Support the Show link.
Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And today we're going to be taking a look at some of Brené Brown's work.
Okay.
Specifically on this idea of belonging and trust.
Okay.
And kind of this idea of navigating what she calls the wilderness. So we're going to be taking a look at one of her more recent videos.
Sounds good.
That I think you'll find really fascinating. And
yeah.
I've always heard this saying, you can't belong everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that always kind of struck me as like, oh, that's great. So I don't have to worry about, pleasing everybody.
Right.
And I can kind of do my own thing.
Mm.
But then if you take that to its logical conclusion, you belong nowhere.
Right.
Which is also kind of a scary thought.
It is, yeah.
So how can you belong everywhere and nowhere?
Exactly.
And it's a question that even kind of stumped Brené Brown for a little while.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, on the one hand, all of her research is about the importance of connection and belonging for well-being. But then, on the other hand, there's this idea that true belonging might involve not fitting in everywhere.
Yeah, is it connection? Is it going solo?
Right.
But she kind of came to her own answer, which she called a spiritual practice.
Interesting.
So I thought that was really fascinating.
Well, it is interesting how she kind of reframed that whole idea and realized that belonging isn't about seeking constant external validation.
Oh, interesting.
Or desperately trying to fit in with every single group. It's more about having that inner confidence to be authentically you, even when it means standing out or disagreeing.
So not being a chameleon.
Exactly right. Sometimes true belonging means having the courage to stand alone, to stay true to your own values, even when it might mean not being part of the in crowd.
Wow. So it's not even looking for that external validation to belong. It's just like,
right.
I belong.
Right.
Because I said so.
It comes from within.
That's powerful.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Makes you think about all those times when you felt pressure to conform, even if it meant compromising your values.
Absolutely.
You ever been there?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
It's like that choice between fitting in and being true to yourself.
Right. And that's something that Brown addresses head on.
Yeah.
She actually even shares a personal anecdote about this, about her commitment to authenticity.
Oh, yeah. When she was talking about, like, even in corporate settings.
Exactly.
She's like, I talk about my faith.
Yeah.
I talk about courage. These are my values. If you don't want someone talking about that, then...
Don't book me.
Yeah, don't pick me.
It's so refreshing, that unapologetic commitment to her own values, even in environments that might not always embrace them.
Yeah.
And it really underscores the importance of knowing your own values, especially in those challenging situations. What are the principles that guide your decisions?
Yeah.
Especially when things get tough.
Oh, that's a good question.
Right.
It's like having a compass when you're navigating difficult terrain.
Exactly. And that actually brings us to another really important concept from Brown, this idea of the wilderness.
Okay.
And it's a metaphor for those times in life when we feel lost, uncertain, or like we don't belong.
It's like uncharted territory.
Yeah.
You've lost your map. You don't know which way to go.
Exactly.
And she has this great advice. She's like, don't go looking for evidence that you don't belong. Because guess what?
You'll find it.
You'll find it.
Yeah.
It's so true, though.
It's so true.
It's like we can get in those negative thought spirals.
Totally.
Where it's like, see, I knew I didn't belong.
Right.
I'm not good enough.
Yeah, you're just looking for proof that you're not good enough or that you don't fit in. But what Brown's emphasizing here is the importance of self-acceptance.
Yeah.
You have to carry that sense of worthiness within yourself.
Yeah.
Don't rely on external validation to prove you belong.
Right. You belong because you belong.
Exactly.
Period.
Yes.
So instead of looking for reasons why you don't belong, you focus on that inner strength and belief in yourself.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that feeling lost or uncertain is a natural part of life.
Right.
Everyone experiences those wilderness moments. It's how we choose to navigate them that really matters.
Right. And that's where her research on trust kind of comes into play.
Right.
Right. She's got this whole braving acronym and the framework for building trust. But
yes,
before we jump into that, can you give us an example
sure,
of like what the wilderness might look like in everyday life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to kind of connect it to
Sure.
something we can relate to.
So imagine you're starting a new job.
Okay.
It's exciting, but also nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah.
You're in a new environment surrounded by unfamiliar faces, and there's that pressure to prove yourself.
Yeah.
You might start questioning whether you have the skills or experience to succeed, whether you'll be accepted by your colleagues, that feeling of uncertainty and self-doubt.
Okay.
That's the wilderness.
Okay, so it's like that internal struggle we all go through when we're
Yes.
stepping outside of our comfort zone.
Exactly.
And facing the unknown.
Exactly. And how we choose to respond to those feelings of uncertainty can make a big difference in how we experience that situation.
So where does trust fit into all this?
Well, think about it this way. When you have a strong foundation of trust, both in yourself and in the people around you, you're better equipped to handle those wilderness moments.
Okay.
It's like having a sturdy backpack and a good pair of hiking boots when you're venturing into unfamiliar territory.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's unpack this BRAVING acronym. What does this stand for again? I can never remember.
BRAVING stands for boundaries, reliability, accountability, vault integrity, non-judgment, and generosity.
Okay, so each of those plays a specific role in building trust.
Exactly.
So boundaries,
Okay.
setting boundaries.
Yeah, setting boundaries is about being clear about what you're comfortable with and what you're not, both
Yeah.
for yourself and others.
But isn't that tough to do sometimes, especially like
It can be challenging, yeah.
in work situations or wherever, where you want to be seen as a team player? Like setting boundaries can seem like you're being difficult or uncooperative.
It can be challenging, but it's crucial for building healthy relationships. And it's not about being rigid or inflexible,
Right.
but rather about communicating your needs and expectations in a clear and respectful way.
Okay.
And remember, Brown encourages us to ask if we're unsure about someone's boundaries.
Okay.
Open communication is key.
So it's not about building walls. It's about setting up healthy fences
That's a great analogy.
to define where your yard ends
Exactly.
and your neighbor's begins.
Boundaries help create a sense of safety and respect in relationships.
Okay. Good fences make good neighbors.
There you go.
So reliability.
Okay.
I'm guessing that one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Do what you say you're going to do.
That's a big part of it, yes. Being reliable means being someone others can count on. It's about following through on your commitments and being consistent in your actions. But Brown also points out the importance of not overcommitting just to please others or to feel worthy.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's about being honest with yourself about your capacity and setting realistic expectations.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that in the past, just like saying yes to everything, even when I'm already stretched thin,
Yeah.
thinking that that's how I prove my worth.
And that can actually backfire, leading to burnout and resentment.
Right.
True reliability comes from a place of self-awareness and integrity. It's about knowing your limits and honoring them.
Okay, so boundaries are about setting healthy limits.
Yeah.
Reliability's about
Being dependable.
being dependable,
Yeah.
honoring your commitments.
Yes.
Accountability.
Okay. Accountability is about owning your mistakes and making amends without blaming others or making excuses.
So acknowledging when you've messed up and making things right. Not trying to sweep it under the rug or
Right.
point fingers.
Exactly. Accountability is essential for building trust because it shows that you're willing to be vulnerable and admit when you're wrong, and that vulnerability, in turn, creates space for others to do the same.
Okay, that makes sense. So V-Vault. This one always intrigued me
Yeah.
because it's not as obvious as the others.
Right. Vault is about respecting confidentiality. It's not just about keeping secrets. It's also about not using other people's personal information for your own gain or to try to create a false sense of connection.
Oh, so you're saying it's not cool to gossip
Exactly.
or share someone's private business
Right.
just to bond with someone else.
Think about it this way. Have you ever had someone share gossip with you about a mutual friend?
Oh, yeah.
Did it make you trust them more?
No, it made me wonder what they're saying about me.
Or did it make you wonder what they might be saying about you behind your back?
Yeah, like they're trying to buy my trust
Exactly.
with someone else's secrets.
And that feels icky, like they're using that information as currency.
Yeah.
And that type of behavior erodes trust rather than building it.
Right.
Brown's point is that true connection comes from authenticity and vulnerability, not from sharing information that isn't yours to share.
Respecting confidentiality is a big deal.
It is.
When it comes to building trust.
Absolutely.
Okay, so integrity.
Okay. Integrity is about choosing courage over comfort.
Okay.
It's about doing what's right even when it's difficult or unpopular.
Mm-hmm.
It's about aligning your actions with your values even when it would be easier to take the path of least resistance.
So walking the walk.
Exactly. Integrity is about showing up authentically and consistently, even when no one is watching.
Yeah.
It's about being true to yourself and your values, even when it's hard.
And that takes courage, especially when you're,
It does.
facing pressure to conform or when doing the right thing.
Absolutely have negative consequences.
And that's where non-judgment comes in.
Okay, so non-judgment is about?
It's about creating a space where both you and others can feel safe to ask for help without feeling ashamed or criticized. We all need support sometimes, and being able to reach out without fear of judgment is crucial for building trust and connection.
So it's not just about being nice or avoiding conflict. It's about creating that culture of support. A culture of support and understanding.
And understanding that we all make mistakes, and we all need help sometimes.
Exactly. It's about extending that same grace and compassion to ourselves that we offer to others.
Okay, so that's good. All right, and generosity.
Hey, generosity in this context is about assuming positive intent. It's about giving people the benefit of the doubt, especially when things go wrong.
Okay.
Instead of jumping to conclusions or assuming the worst, try to understand their perspective and their intentions.
So pause before reacting.
Yes.
Take a breath and
try to see the situation from the other person's point of view.
try to see it from their point of view.
Yes. It's about creating space for open communication and understanding. It's about recognizing that we all make mistakes. And approaching those situations with empathy and compassion can go a long way in building trust.
Yeah, it's like give people the benefit of the doubt until they prove you wrong.
Exactly.
Rather than the other way around.
Right.
It's a huge difference.
It does.
In how we approach relationships.
Absolutely. And when you think about all these elements together, boundaries, reliability, accountability, the vault integrity, non-judgment, and generosity.
With a mouthful.
It really paints a picture of what it means to show up as a trustworthy person in the world. It's not just about being nice or avoiding conflict. It's about being grounded in your values, being clear about your expectations, and showing up for yourself and others with integrity and compassion.
So how does all this tie back to the idea of the wilderness?
Well, Brown makes a really powerful connection between trust and braving the wilderness.
Yeah.
She's essentially saying that when we cultivate these elements of trust within ourselves and our relationships, we equip ourselves to navigate the inevitable challenges and uncertainties of life with more courage and resilience.
That's like having that toolkit.
Yes.
For those moments when we feel lost or alone.
Exactly.
Or unsure of ourselves.
Instead of getting caught in a spiral of self-doubt or giving up on our values, we can lean on these principles to guide our actions and decisions.
And remember her reminder, I am the wilderness.
Yes.
It's a call to recognize our own inner strength and capacity to navigate the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
It's about owning our own wild hearts and trusting that we have what it takes to make our way through challenging times. I love that.
It is empowering.
Yeah, like, hey, you are capable of handling whatever life throws at you.
Yes.
You have the strength, the resilience, and the resources
You
to
got this.
make it through the tough stuff.
Yeah, and a big part of that resilience comes from the connections we build with others, connections that are built on trust, vulnerability, and authenticity.
Right.
When we have people, we can lean on people who understand and accept us for who we are. We're better able to face the wilderness, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
It's like we're not alone in facing these things.
We're not.
We all have our own wilderness to kind of navigate.
Yeah.
And having those connections really makes a difference.
It does. And when you think about it, embracing those elements of braving can help us build those kinds of connections. It's like creating a map for navigating relationships with integrity and compassion.
Mm-hmm. So how do we put these ideas into practice?
Well,
Like, it's one thing to understand them,
right.
but how do we actually, live them out?
Right. Well, I think it starts with self-awareness. Take some time to reflect on your own values, your boundaries, and how you approach building trust in your relationships. It's an ongoing process, but simply becoming more conscious of these elements is a powerful first step.
So it's like taking inventory of your own trust toolkit.
Exactly.
See what you've got.
Yeah.
What you need to work on.
And then it's about making small but intentional choices to align your actions with those values. Maybe it's setting a boundary with a coworker who consistently disrespects your time, being more reliable in following through on your commitments, or practicing generosity by giving someone the benefit of the doubt when they make a mistake.
Yeah, and thinking about that vault concept.
Mm-hmm.
Just being mindful
Yes.
of how we share information
Absolutely.
about others.
It's easy to get caught up in gossip or use personal information as a way to bond with others. But remember, true connection comes from authenticity and respect. Yeah. Not from sharing secrets that aren't yours to tell.
Like building a relationship on
Right.
Integrity not on shaky ground.
Exactly. And remember, every small action contributes to building a foundation of trust, both within yourself and with others. Over time, those small actions create a ripple effect, impacting how you show up in the world and the quality of your relationships.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that even though the world can feel like a wild and uncertain place, we do have the power to cultivate that sense of belonging, build trust, and navigate those challenges with courage and authenticity.
You're not alone on this journey.
Yeah.
We all face times of uncertainty and doubt, but by leaning on the principles of trust, vulnerability, and self-compassion, we can find our way through those wilderness moments and emerge even stronger.
And maybe, just maybe, we'll find that the wilderness itself holds beauty and wisdom that we wouldn't find anywhere else.
It's about embracing that wilderness within us, recognizing it as a source of strength rather than something to be feared.
So it all comes back to that I am the wilderness.
Yes.
What a thought-provoking way to end this deep dive.
Yeah.
It really challenges us to kind of reflect on our own
inner landscape.
Yeah,
those places of strength, resilience, and possibility.
and to remember that true belonging comes not from seeking that external validation, but from cultivating it from within.
From within, recognizing that we are already enough, exactly as we are, with all our imperfections and vulnerabilities. And when we can embrace that truth, we can show up in the world with more courage, authenticity, and compassion.
Yeah, it's like that wilderness within us, that place of uncertainty and vulnerability, is also the source of our greatest strength and resilience.
Absolutely.
And when we learn to navigate that wilderness with self-awareness and compassion, we not only create a deeper sense of belonging for ourselves, but we inspire others to do the same.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together, navigating our own wilderness experiences, and that by supporting each other with trust and understanding, we can create a more compassionate and connected world.
Well, folks, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of Brené Brown.
We have.
It's been a great journey exploring these concepts of belonging, trust, and braving the wilderness.
I hope this exploration was insightful and thought-provoking.
Yeah.
These are ideas that can really transform how we live.
And as we wrap up, we just want to leave you with one final thought to ponder.
Okay.
Think about Brown's idea of the courage to be disliked.
Ooh, that's a good word.
How comfortable are you with being disliked for standing by your values?
That's a challenging question, but an important one.
It is.
Take care.
As we navigate our own journeys of belonging, authenticity, and trust.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time for another adventure in knowledge and exploration.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Lab Digest. If you receive value from the podcast, I have 3 asks of you. 1, share the show on social media with your friends and tag the show at the Wellness Lab Digest on Instagram. Number 2, please leave a rating and review in whatever app you're listening on. And last but not least, please let me know what topics you would like us to cover in the future. You can contact me at empoweringmen.org/contact. And right now we have a free ebook to get you started on your wellness journey as well. That's empoweringmen.org/contact. To support this podcast, check out our sponsors at the bottom of the page or simply click the Support the Show link.